to another episode of Can You Connect? And this is Mr.WalkThatWalk. And today's episode, we are going to be going over dating somebody who is a pyromania or a kleptomania. So, our first person we're going to go over is a pyromania. And first person is going to be I think she was a teenager, a Hispanic teenager. She went over that at 5 years old. She started cooking food for her Mexican mother. However, she was trying to cook tacos for her to show her her cooking skills. But she ended up burning everything up. By the time her mom came home, she was trying to stop her because it was already bad. However, because of that situation, she grew to kind of love fire to the point where she would often go out and start fires in her backyard. So she'd start multiple fires, boom, 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 to the point where the mom was like, something's wrong. You gotta go. I love you, but you gotta get checked out. So once she got checked out by the mental health facility and came back, that helped her to the point where she stopped doing fires. So she got her help at 7, and then after 7, and she got hospitalized, everything improved. Our next person is going to be a Caucasian male. Through the lens of his sister, because his sister explained everything that happened with him. So at first, what begun it was his uncle teaching him how to use a lighter, and through that experience, he was like, at 4, he was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Well, let's see what I could do with it. So locked the door, went under the bed and started burning things under the bed, and gaining that fascination of seeing something melt to the point where it started a fire, and that caused, almost burned the bed down, and that grew his fascination for fires to the point where now, a year later, he burned something in the microwave, burned food in the microwave that caused a bit of a fire, but mostly the food was just burning. So him, experimenting and looking at that, going through that process, and at 5, playing with a lighter again, using the lighter close to his face because he had on glasses, so ended up breaking his glasses and got cracks because he put the lighter too close to his glasses. And as a teen, he regularly would start fires in the house. He'll burn paper towels, he'll go outside and start fires, or put tinfoil in a microwave. Just causing some chaos. To the point where his family will always have to watch over him and make sure he's not doing something he's not supposed to do. However, since he got married, now his wife is probably consistently watching over him, making sure he's not doing the most. So, it's, for the fire starters, it's almost like you have an adult kid that you have to observe or watch over. Just making sure they ain't messing up something. Hey, because there has been multiple times where kids, probably teens, maybe some adults. I want to say a lot of adults, but maybe a few adults. There's been a lot of instances where the houses get burned down. And you know why they get burned down? Because somebody's a bit curious about the fire. They're curious about what's going on. They're like, oh, let's see what's happening. And they done burn everything down. It was like, oh, I didn't mean for that to happen. But the curiosity got too overwhelming. So maybe they need a little campfire in the backyard. You put some wood. Hey, that's your area. You love it that much. Here's your little circle of area where you could put some wood, start a fire, boom, have fun. Don't say, you could put whatever you want, paper towel, whatever you want. Goes in that little campfire area. Maybe that could be an idea. So they're not burning everything down in the house. Our next person is going to be a Kleptomania. So our first person is going to be a Caucasian lady from the U.S. Reported often she often steal things, but she also had binge eating disorder as well. So it was interesting. So she would often go to the store hungry, and but having money to pay for everything, but she would go anyway and steal, and then steal a bunch of stuff, go home, and purge all the food. So she'll purge means she's throwing up. So she'll eat a loads amount of food, throw up. And she'll do this every day. So she'll go to different stores. Every day. Other than next day, but she'll go to a different store every other day. Go to a different store, buy food, steal a bunch of food, go home, eat it all, throw it all up. That was her routine. She mentioned loving to eat it and throw it up. And she will often go to colleges to steal from them. So she'll go to like college dorms and maybe steal food from them. And due to her stealing, went to jail in 2003 for her. So she ended up getting caught. And sometimes they get caught. So she definitely got caught up a lot and banned from multiple grocery stores due to her stealing. Alright, our next person is going to be a Caucasian lady who mentioned that due to her stealing, she would often, close herself off from the world, from her family, from her friends, due to being embarrassed from stealing. And, not being able to, feeling that embarrassment, she didn't want to share it with anybody because, she felt like nobody would really trust her or want to be around her. So can you imagine how that kind of affected her wanting to date or talk to somebody? She would have this thing that's or urges to steal, but you can't tell your partner like, "Hey, I like stealing things." And I'm like, "What?" Your partner's gonna leave you like, "Nah, bro, I'm not having you around me stealing things." So, through her anxiety and pressure, to steal, because they needed to do steal because afterwards it would release all that pressure and anxiety. And oftentimes she wouldn't be able to go a day without stealing. It was almost like an obsession for her. And stealing helped her function throughout the day, So she's stealing. After she steals, she feels better. However, at some point she often started using drugs and getting caught up in drugs because she would rather be a person who did drugs than to steal. She didn't want to be known for stealing. And she had a lot of hate for herself due to that. And her stealing started when she was little. So around 5 or 7, the first thing she stole was a broken toy from the toy store. The next thing was like nail polish and shiny things, so maybe like jewelry. Why am I getting this wrong? Like earrings, like little chains, but nothing big. She only stole small things. However, she did steal $5,000 from her mom to buy mobile games. So the in-game mobile games, you gotta buy, let's say, items for your little customize your characters and stuff. And to this point, she would feel bad for stealing, especially stealing from her mom. And with stealing, she felt in control. But it will also hurt when she steals as well. But once she got because she would hide it too, so she was going to therapy and she hid it from her therapist as well. But once she got diagnosed once it became real for her when she got diagnosed with kleptomania. And after that, then she started to take it a bit more serious about her healing journey. But she still had sadness from it, but often happy she's not hiding it, because through hiding it, it caused her a lot of depression. So now she has less depression due to her being able to finally express how she feels. Our next person is going to be a Caucasian male who is Terry. Will often feel excited and powerful from stealing, but often feel stressed before the steal. So, feel that anxiety from it. But even though he would feel excited and powerful, he would still get the negative feelings of feeling bad and guilty from stealing as well. Other times he felt like he lived a double life. Because he was trying his best to live perfect and do the right thing at home, but when he left out the house, he would often steal. So that's where that thought of, oh man, I think it's like I'm living a double life. And he started in his teenage years, he started stealing at 14. First steal was a comic book, then there was cassette tapes and magazines, toiletry, food. And at a certain point, he told his, family about it so he could get some services and help from it. And our last person is going to be a Caucasian male whose name is Tabitha. She reported often being nervous and exciting, but dreading before stealing. And she would often steal multiple times a day, if possible, if she felt like she could get away from it. If she feels like she could get away with it, there we go. And it got to the point where she was hoarding all these items that she didn't really need, but she wanted them. She had the urge to steal, so she sold it. She started stealing small things first, and then more expensive things later. And at points she would get in trouble because she got locked up. She got put in police custody, but that didn't stop her. She kept stealing. She kept going for it. And after getting healing from her, she also had an eating disorder that actually stopped her stealing. So something was going on with an imbalance with that in regards to her eating disorder, which helped her also affect her stealing. So some of the people are in recovery and getting help. The people with kleptomania is a bit more harder for them dating wise than the fire setters, because it's hard to be like, oh man, I'm dating somebody who steals from people or takes from somebody. So I think that was harder for people to deal with. And they were aware of that as well. That's why the one girl said that she was worried about people trusting her. But now that she's open about it, and when you are open about it, things can get better, and you got support from therapy and other things in your family. But that honesty helped, being honest and upfront. So we also have to think about, well, how many people have kleptomania? How many people is in jail right now because they have kleptomania? it could be high numbers. It could be a lot of people. So not only do we have to be understanding of people with kleptomania who just steal things just to steal, and it's not really a reason for them to steal, but also the people who stealing because they hungry. They actually hungry and really need it. They need food, they need water, shelter, and they're just stealing things because they need it. So for those two things, how could we really get upset or mad or feel like, we have to punish these people to an extremity when they're either stealing because of a diagnosis or stealing because of a need that's not being met? So these are just certain things to think about and keep in mind about our community so we can better help our community and better have an understanding of other people. And this will conclude this episode for tonight. So definitely thanks for watching. And our Black-owned content creator we're going to be supporting is Stop Playing with Trey. His goal is to support Black women on their natural hair journey, but also challenge their ideologies for wearing non-real hair. So it's interesting. If you want to check it out, I'll put it in the description. Give us some support. And of course, we're going to be supporting the people who do our intro and outro of our music, the artists and the artist who did the art for my avatar. That will be in the description. And for myself, I'm a clinical social worker for the state of Maryland who provides individual, family, and couples therapy. So if you're interested, just send me an email and everything will be in the description. So y'all definitely have a good rest of the night or day.